Let's talk about some of the most powerful organs in your body. I mean, what if I told you they filter your entire blood supply more than 30 times a day? Today, we're going to dive into the incredible and honestly often overlooked world of your kidneys and see how they master this delicate dance with something called electrolytes. So, to really get a sense of what that means, picture this. What organ in your body is such a workhorse that it filters almost 200 liters of blood? That's like a full bathtub every single day. Yep, you guessed it. It's your kidneys. These two little fist-sized powerhouses are, seriously, the unsung heroes of your body. They're working 24/7, not just cleaning your blood, but they're also controlling your blood pressure and even helping to make red blood cells. Amazing, right? All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about why the kidneys are basically the body's MVPs. Then, we'll get into these electrical minerals. After that, we're taking a deep dive, a look inside the filtering factory itself. And finally, we'll touch on what happens when the kidneys can't keep up and how we can help manage that. So, Section 1, your body's unsung heroes. You know, we talk a lot about the heart and the brain, right? They get all the glory. But honestly, the kidneys, they're the real master regulators. Without them, that perfect, stable internal environment that every other organ relies on, it would just, well, it would completely fall apart. And check this out. Each kidney is packed with about a million of these tiny filtering units called nephrons. It's kind of hard to imagine, but it's an incredible amount of filtering power crammed into such a small organ. And this quote really nails it. The kidneys are like traffic controllers for water and electrolytes. Just let that sink in for a second. Your ability to think, to move a muscle, even for your heart to beat correctly, all of it depends on your kidneys doing that job, directing the flow of these crucial minerals and water. Okay, so if the kidneys are the traffic cops, what's the traffic? Well, that brings us to our next section, the electrical minerals, or as you probably know them, electrolytes. So what are electrolytes really? Simply put, they're minerals that carry a tiny electrical charge when they're dissolved in your body's fluids. Think of them as the body's wiring system. They carry the electrical signals that tell your cells what to do. They're essential for, well, pretty much everything, from having a thought to flexing a muscle. And it's not just one or two. We're talking about a whole team of these guys, and each one has a super specific job. It's kind of like an orchestra, right? If the violins are out of tune, the whole piece sounds wrong. Same here. You've got sodium managing fluid levels, potassium making sure your heart beats just right. They all have to be in perfect balance. And just to show you how delicate this is, let's just zoom in on potassium. Inside your cells, the concentration is really high. But outside the cells, in your bloodstream, it's super low. And that massive difference, that's what creates an electrical potential, kind of like a tiny battery in every cell. It's what lets your nerves fire and your muscles contract. And that is why the kidney's ability to manage this balance so precisely isn't just important, it's literally a matter of life and death. All right, you ready to go on a little trip? Let's zoom way in and take a tour of one of these amazing little filtering factories. The nephron. The whole thing works in this beautiful 4-step process. First up is filtration, where pretty much everything gets pushed out of the blood. Then, in step 2, reabsorption, the body carefully pulls back all the good stuff it needs. Step 3, secretion, is where it actively boots out any extra waste. And finally, step 4, excretion, that's where what's left over gets sent on its way out. And this whole system is just ridiculously efficient. I mean, take sodium. Your kidneys filter out a ton of it, but then they turn around and reclaim more than 99% of it, pulling it right back into your body where it's needed. It really just shows you how incredibly precise this whole operation is. But you know, this isn't just running on autopilot. The whole thing is tightly controlled by chemical messengers we call hormones. You've got hormones like aldosterone and ADH that are constantly sending messages to the kidneys, telling them, hey, hold on to more sodium, or let's get rid of some potassium. It's this constant communication that makes sure your body has exactly what it needs moment to moment. But what happens when these master regulators start to struggle? This brings us to a really serious topic, the challenge of chronic kidney disease, or what's often called CKD. With chronic kidney disease, you're looking at a slow, gradual loss of the kidney's ability to do their job. And look, this isn't just a kidney problem. When they start to fail, it sets off a domino effect of issues all throughout the body. One of the most dangerous things that can happen with CKD is a condition called hyperkalemia. This is where potassium levels in the blood get way too high because the failing kidneys just can't filter it out anymore. And remember that super delicate potassium balance we were just talking about? When that gets thrown so far out of whack, it can seriously mess with your heart's rhythm, and that can be fatal. And these imbalances, they don't just happen quietly. Your body starts sending out distress signals. Things like muscle weakness, feeling tired all the time, an irregular heartbeat, even confusion. These are all signs that the body's internal wiring is starting to short circuit. Now, the good news is that even when kidney function is seriously impaired, there are really effective strategies to help manage all this. It takes a real team approach. So, how is it managed? Well, it's a multi-step plan. It all starts with careful monitoring through blood tests. Then comes managing the diet really closely to control what's coming in. After that, there are specific medications that can help, and in the most serious cases, there is a procedure called dialysis. So, for severe kidney failure, dialysis is basically an artificial kidney. When the real ones can no longer do their job, this machine steps in and takes over that essential task of cleaning waste and balancing electrolytes in the blood. It's truly a life-sustaining treatment. And that really brings us to the end, and it leaves us with one final thought. After everything we've talked about, the question is, are you doing what you can to support your body's hardest workers? Simple stuff. Staying hydrated, eating a balanced diet. It can make a huge difference in helping these amazing organs do their job for a long, long time.